here? No, this way? Back. Oh, there you are. Can you imagine what kind of success that I would have to try to get my message across to you if I wasn't even looking in your direction? What if I was the President of the United States trying to project confidence with body language like this? What about if you were a 5-year-old and I spoke to you with body language like this? How much information do you feel would get through? The body language you communicate through, the tonality of our language, and even the words that we use to communicate can either make us feel connected to one another or feel repelled from each other. So what exactly causes our relationships to open up and work or close down and die? I will describe it to you in one simple word: rapport. If you're wondering exactly what rapport is, you can think about it this way. If you were in electronics, rapport would be a Bluetooth that syncs up your phone to your music player. Or if you were a cell phone, rapport would be the cellular network reception that connects your phone to other people's phones. And of course, if you were Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer, you could tell that you were in great rapport with your canine buddies by their obedience and calm and relaxed state. In this video, I will explain what is rapport, how to get into it, and what happens when you break it. I will also show you a live demonstration so that you can see, hear, and feel rapport in action. If you want to continuously become even more successful in your life, you must learn and develop even higher levels of rapport. Please enjoy. 5 ways to connect with anybody using rapport. And like I said, my name is Jeremiah Rangel. I am a NLP and hypnosis trainer, which is fancy words for I have a lot of intensive training for the last 12 years of learning how to connect with people, how to teach people how to connect with other people, and really most importantly, themselves. And without rapport, none of this is actually possible. So my training and style as a neurolinguistic psychologist is I study people, and I study habits, programs, patterns, and how we do what we do, and in another way, in a deeper way, why we do what we do. Behind every belief that we have, behind every behavior or action, there's a deeper meaning and deeper reason why. And once you can unlock it or decode it for yourself or another person, life just becomes so much easier. So I've been studying this information, this work for, like I said, 12 years, and I'm also teaching it. I'm a NLP and hypnosis trainer, which means I teach people how to learn and develop these skills so they can apply it in any aspect of life. And the way I explain it is, if you know how people work and you know how the mind works, you can get along with anybody else in life. It's going to the source, kind of a human being in a way, in the mind. And there's a lot of patterns you'll see and a lot of similar things that will overlap. So rapport itself is a process of responsiveness. So my intention isn't to use super big words, or if I do use some bigger words, to chunk it down or bring it down so you can understand and digest it really easily. So rapport is a process of responsiveness. So it's a process, so it's happening. It's not like I'm in rapport. It's not like you're in rapport or out of rapport. It's you're doing things that you're staying continuously in rapport, or doing things you're staying continuously breaking rapport. So it's a process of responsiveness. And what is responsiveness? Alertness, attentiveness, connection. If a person's looking at you, paying attention, maybe nodding your head when you're talking, engagement, I can say it in a lot of different ways. So it's a process, it's an ongoing thing, and by the end of today, I'm actually going to teach you how that happens, how you can do it, and how to get better at it in different ways. So how many people would like to, and I know the answer to the question before I'm asking, but it's nice just to get the mind firing. How many people would like to be able to communicate with anyone, anywhere, anytime, in any situation? I mean, that's pretty obviously given yes. And then what about certain situations where you want to get your point across? You want to talk to a coworker, you want to talk to a loved one, you want to talk to, just connect to another human being, and you actually want to get your point across really easily and effectively. And then how about somebody who's having a struggle in life, having a hard time, that you want actually to break through, you want to be able to connect them, help them become more connected. So those are obviously 3 yeses. Rapport is the only way that actually can happen. So all those things that happen in common, it's through rapport. And the 5 things I'm going to teach you today is going to be able to help you elevate the way you communicate, understand, and relate to anybody in life. So some of the things with rapport is why. Why is rapport so important, and why learn rapport in the first place? If you're a student, it doesn't matter if you're in 3rd grade or if you're a student of life. If you learn rapport, whether life itself is your teacher or you have a science teacher, a math teacher, or a professor, if you get in rapport with your teacher, professor, whoever's teaching you the lesson, it's going to be a lot easier. You know, I did this unconsciously, automatically in college. I was a solid B student in college, but I got A's on my grades because if I would take a test and I would get some incorrect, so I would get like a solid, B's on my test, I actually wanted to learn. I was paying for it with my own money in college, and I wanted to actually learn the information that the teacher was teaching. So I would go up with my test at the end and I would say, okay, I got these wrong. I didn't understand the question correctly, or isn't it this way? The cool thing about it is my teacher really cared about that. It wasn't, what do they call it, brown nosing or sucking up. They can tell I was really passionate, and they were passionate as well. That's why they wouldn't be teaching. And a lot of times they would give me they would either rewrite the test. You're like, you know what, that's a great point. This is the way I meant to say it, but I'm going to reword it from future tests. Or I see what you were saying, I'm going to give you that point anyway. So if you're a student and you get a rapport with your teacher, it's going to be a little easier for you. And you're actually going to get a little bit extra information and attention. Your grades might actually go up too as well. If you're a teacher, you might get a lot more out of your students. If I was a teacher, which I am right now, and I was going to talk to all the students, if I was going to do it like this, how effective would I be? How much would people listen to me? Or if I was going to do this, or if I didn't make any eye contact and I was just, I could do certain physiology things and I'm communicating quite a bit, but a lot of people actually check out. It doesn't matter if you guys like me, if I'm the coolest person in the world to you or not. You can get into rapport with people, or you can break rapport pretty easily. But if you're a teacher and you're engaged, eye contact is a way for rapport, but not too much eye contact, or you're staring too much, can be creepy, right? So getting into rapport as a teacher, the students are going to get the information so much easier. If you're a child, whether you're a 50-year-old child, a 4-year-old child, any age child, as a child or being in any situation, whether you're a parent or an adult teaching the children, or whether you're a child, learning this information will help you with your friends, help you get along, understand in school, learning situations, help you really communicate what's important to you and what you need. And a lot of times the parents have to teach it, but if you're a parent, you're gonna have those breakthroughs with your children. You're gonna be able to help them get their needs met, which is the most important, one of the ultimate goals of being a parent. But also to communicate to yourself and communicate to your co-parents or whoever else you're working with. As a coach, whether you're a life coach, whether you're a business coach, whether you're a coach of a team, to get your message across, to get your system across, to be able to co-create with the person you're creating, to get into rapport, which is responsiveness. When you're in rapport with somebody, they're open, their information's receiving. If you're not in rapport with somebody, it doesn't matter who you are, how much you love them, how much you like them, information doesn't go through. And I'll demonstrate that in just a very short period of time. Therapist. This is a pretty obvious one. If you're a massage therapist, psychologist, any sort of therapy where you're helping somebody, hypnotherapist. By connecting to somebody, you want to open them up, connect them to the resources, or relieve the negative programs or want behaviors that they have inside. And in business, if you want to make the sale, you need to be in rapport. Just makes sense. If you want to communicate you only have a shortened time of business as far as time is money. So what time you're in front of people is always going to be valuable. So you have to be very succinct. You have to be really direct to get your point across in a very timely manner. So in business, if you're not in rapport, you're not going to do so well in business. It's not a judgment, it's an assessment. And we're going to get into that in just a second. So these are the 5 different ways that I'm going to be teaching you about how to get into rapport. Now, rapport is not limited to these 5 ways. These are just the top 5 ways that if you can learn from, if you can apply to your life and just bring the information inside and see if it's true for you, these 5 different ways will give you a leg up, give you an advantage, will help you literally in every situation in life. Physiology, I talked about before. If I'm doing this, I'm going to be talking, not making eye contact. It doesn't matter if I really care. I could just be in a really nice state of consciousness and looking at this beautiful wall and like, this is so great. But if the information was muted, you might not be able to see, and you might feel that I'm not communicating or not connecting. So physiology is actually the majority of how we communicate. It's actually 55% of our communication. The tonality that we do, if I'm going to be talking to you and everything is going down and the information, so you're going to do a great job, you're going to learn all this information, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what words I'm saying, I'm commanding it. If I say it straight, like, you know what, you're going to observe all this information really easily because I know you're such a great learner. If I say something just straight on, it's going to be a statement. And if I say straight up, you're going to receive this information? I think I'm doing a good job up here. So if the tone goes up, it's more of a question. So we're going to break it down and make it kind of like a ridiculous game just to show you, give you an example of what that looks like or sounds like and feels like. The predicates. People say like, looks to me, this is what it looks like for me, from my point of view. Or that feels right to me, or that doesn't resonate with me. So the predicates that people say, the key words in the sentences, if you can pick up on that, extract it, and you start speaking the language to that, you have a doorway into their mind, into their soul, into their hearts, into their beingness, until inside. And this happens all the time. It's going to be really obvious when I show you these things. So if you can listen to what language of people are speaking and speak their language back to them. I'm not saying English and English. I'm speaking more visual and visual, or auditory, kinesthetic, and feeling. Energy. Two biggest things are, I'll give you a little preview, Tigger and Eeyore. Energy. They're opposites in a lot of ways, but they're in rapport in a lot of ways. So we'll get into that. And the fourth one, and the fifth one is keywords. We'll have a little go and have a little fun play with that. But these are the different five of the ways, most importantly, to get into rapport. So when we talk about rapport, one of the key terms is when people are like each other, they like each other. So rapport is a process of responsiveness, but it's not necessarily liking. When you can get in rapport with somebody you don't really like or care for, and why would you want to do that? Maybe they're in an unresourceful state and you want to diffuse their energy bomb that they're going to go off. They're coming in like Pigpen from Charlie Brown and they're going to give sadness or drama or this or that. Well, you can also get into rapport with them, and in NLP terms, neuro-linguistic programming or psychology terms, you can match them and you can lead them out into a more resourceful state. So rapport is really important if you want to change your own state or change the emotional states of other people positively. So when people are like each other, they like each other. So one of the best ways I explain it, I used to work at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory in Minnesota. Opened up the restaurant, and they have a really, really great system of how they run restaurants. I really like it. And when I was working there, there was a guy by the name of, I can't remember his actual name, but we called him Farley. I don't know if you ever watched, I think it was in the 80s or 90s, Saturday Night Live and Chris Farley. He looked like Chris Farley. He talked like Chris Farley. He sounded like Chris Farley. He was funny like Chris Farley. I thought he was hilarious, but he had one major thing that broke rapport a lot. He would spit a lot. Like, what is that, Daffy Duck? Or I think it's Daffy Duck, yeah. He would spit a lot when he would talk. I don't know why. I don't know if his parents taught him. I don't know if he was modeling after something he learned. I don't know if there's anything wrong with his mouth. I don't think so. I just think he spit a lot and nobody told him his whole life probably. So when you get in front of his presence or his face, you're going to get spit on. It's going to be like a rainy day. So what I learned to do, because I knew about rapport and I know like, this guy's hilarious. I actually want to hear what he has to say, but I don't want to get spit on. So he would actually he was a new guy on the block and actually was one of the people that trained him in. And he started spitting. So what I realized and what I learned is I asked my unconscious mind, which is that internal source of intelligence that we all have, and I teach how do people to connect to that. So he was standing right in front of me, and here he goes spitting, and I'm just like, oh, and a few times I said, here, you can have that back, and I'm just being really nice, but just to politely say, like, you're spitting on me, buddy. So as he was spitting, what I did was I took one step, kind of like more than a 45-degree turn. And so he was facing this way, so we're kind of side by side now. He was spitting this way. I can still listen to him and talk to him, and he became so hilarious. I started laughing my butt off, and I'm just like telling everyone else, Farley's so hilarious. Well, all the other people that I was working with, I'm like, he's funny from afar, but if you get close up, he'll spit on you. And it's not so fun. It's not funny to get spit on. So I said, look, just take one step to the left or to the right. And they were just like, what are you talking about? Like, watch. He's in front of you. Like, I put people in front of me. You're Farley. You're spitting on me. Take one step. Come up next to him side by side. And he'll start talking. He'll spit that way. Not on the food, of course, but just on people. And it was just hilarious. So his stock went up in the company because everyone thought he was so funny because I was going around teaching people how to get in rapport with him. And sometimes getting in rapport is just like going and standing side by side. Sometimes it's facing people. Sometimes it's putting a hand on the shoulder or saying a few words. But he went out. People liked him so much more. He was funny. He just wanted to be connected. People wanted to feel connected to each other. So people didn't like getting spit on. They didn't like the behavior, but they liked the person. So if you can learn if you're trying something in life and it's not working, the intelligent thing to do is do something different. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's the definition of insanity. So let's go into the first thing, which is this. Number one is physiology. Another word for physiology is body language. So what we do and how we position our body says a lot. So communication, how we communicate and relate to people, is physiology, tonality, and words. I already said it originally. 55% of what we do with our body language is how we communicate and give information. Tonality, which I talked about going up or down, 38%, 2%, so that's really important, extra important. So 38% is tonality, and actually 7% is words. Now, there's some people that have heard those statistics and will say, well, that's actually not technically true, this or that. How do you really measure that? Well, I will show you very quickly within 2 minutes of how this is true. Not 100% necessarily, but it's like saying, is my brain 85% water? Is it 82% water? Is it 90% water? Is it 80% water? Who cares? Most of it's water. Really, it's not technically important. Or being over 18 years of being a physical trainer and talking about holistic nutrition, I always share people that don't know that every day you wake up in a dehydrated state, and if you drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning, it's -2 cups of water. So most people are going around in a dehydrated state, and the number one cause of headaches is because you're dehydrated, you don't have enough water in your brain, so your brain's saying, it's like an engine without oil and it's not being lubricated. So I tell people, pretty much standard, nipples across, mid-nipple lines, anatomically correct. Here down is about water. About 70% of the body is water. And to argue, is it 65, it's 70, who cares? Majority of you is water. So this is very accurate, which is 55% physiology, 38% tonality, and 7% words. So we'll get into the tonality, or the tonality in a second, but the physiology is this. If I were to stand, my feet about shoulder width apart, raising my chest up about 1 inch, hands to the side. Normally, this is projected as confidence, as congruence. What I'm saying, I believe. If I was going to say something like this, or if I was going to move like this, I'm just moving my body. After a while, people might think I have to go to the bathroom. They might think I'm nervous, or I'm antsy. I'm not grounded, or if I'm jittery, if I'm talking really quick and really fast, I might raise my voice and energy and I'm doing this, people usually get uncomfortable, shaking around. What is it, the wacky, waitable, inflatable people, right? So if I were to do this, now I'm doing it as a point, inside my head, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking and saying, like, I love you guys all, you're amazing people. That's just what I'm feeling, the space I'm holding, but watch my physiology. I'm not saying anything, but watch what reaction you have inside if I were to do this. And I'm saying, inside heart, I love you, you're awesome. So if I were to say this, or this is what I'm saying inside, but I'm just doing this. This usually isn't comfortable for people. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable, I'm trying to make a point. I'm leaning forward and I'm pointing. Even if I said, your fly's down, but they might be like, oh my God, I see that, and I'm pointing, you get embarrassed. Instead of like, your fly's down, that might be a better thing to do. So coming forward and kind of being like a blamer or just pointer, it kind of seems aggressive. Even though I'm not trying to be aggressive, that's not what my energy and words say, but it doesn't matter. I could say, I love you guys, you're awesome, but do this. And the response might not be that. Does this make sense? There's a couple people in the room that's crossing their arms and be like, yeah, I don't know if I like that so much, which is okay. So another thing is if I were to do this, and look at people. There's just something, what I talk about when we do spiritual coaching, this is never an inappropriate, there's never a situation when this is inappropriate. Funeral, Statue of Liberty, you know, they're saluting the flag. You want to say something, you want to get your point across, you want to listen. You're president trying to become elected, whatever. You're somebody who just wants to feel good, connected. This is never inappropriate. So doing this, it's really defensive. It really brings down a person's guard, if that makes sense. So if I'm doing this, non-defensive, yeah, that's what I said. So if I'm like this could presuppose, a lot of people, I ask people, what do you think what's happening right now? Some people say closed off. Some people say cold, because I could be cold or I could be closed off. I could be comfortable. I could actually feel like I'm giving myself a hug. I could be warming up my hands. All those things could be true, but in rapport and in NLP and in communication, it's not so much of how you deliver it, it's how it's being received. And if how it's being received and how you're delivering it doesn't work, change your delivery approach to be able to get the response that you want. So there's been many times in my relationships where I say something and it doesn't get received the way I want, for whatever reason, right? We're human beings, we have how many personalities inside? Not dissociative identity disorder, not multiple personality disorder, but we have all these personalities inside. We have happy, sad. If you watch Inside Out, that movie, we have all of those personalities, plus creative, plus bored, plus mischievous, plus all these things. Any person, any emotion you can think of, we have it inside, and they're constantly going at different times and different points. The weather affects it, nutrition affects it, time of the year, seasons affect it, time of the day, all these things affect it. So you could say one thing to one person at a different time, a different season, a different time of the day, and they were going to respond differently because they're kind of a different person or a different part of the person, if that makes sense. So if you don't know rapport or how to communicate effectively, you're going to have a lower percent, a lower time, then a lower chance to be able to get your message across. If you were to talk to somebody in a very, you want to get a message across, if you're a parent and you do something like this, how well do you feel like it'll be received? And if you're a kid looking up and someone's looking down on you and you're doing this, it's just rule number one. When I was going through my paramedic training, they taught when we get to kids, you don't talk down to kids and you don't do this, you're going to be this big, you know, huge force. You get down on your knee or you get down to their level. You get down to eye level. That's great for parents. That's great for coaches. That's great for anybody. Now, and there's people, we've all known adults that have grown up who have short man's or short woman's complex where they feel inferior and it has things to do from their childhood and things like that. And I don't mean to say this to bring up charges or triggers. I do mean to say there's a reason why we respond the way we do, but you can also get a report and make people feel non-defensive. You can disarm them through coming to like more of a leveler position or matching them. If they get into one physiology and you can match them, you can break it or you can get into it. So Amanda, would you be so kind to come up and I want to share something with you? So if everyone can give Amanda just a little hand, a little encouragement for coming up. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is we're going to do a little demonstration. I'm just going to point your match my chair. So we're going to come kind of facing this way. All right, so go ahead and have a seat. So Amanda is my beautiful wife. She is my best friend. She's the coolest person in the world. With that being said, it could be your number one favorite person, and you can still break rapport. You can still not get information in. And the opposite is true. It could be your, not that you have enemies, but your worst enemy, your person you don't like the most, and you can still get into rapport with them and get along with them, actually. So if I were to talk with Amanda, and I want to do 4 different really quick exercises. I'm going to do 4 different major physiologies or body languages and see how you feel. What is your response to when I do each one? So the first thing I'm going to have Amanda do is really simply talk about her favorite place that she would like to visit in the world, maybe somewhere around April next year. So just talk a little bit. So I just said words and she's lighting up, she's getting really happy, maybe getting more excited. So go ahead and just share a little bit of this place.
Okay. So I feel like in April we are going to go to Paris. We're flying into London to do a NLP conference in April, and we're going to tack on a 5-year anniversary and maybe take a fast train to Paris and then fast train back to London to fly back home. Really, Paris to me...
Okay, I'm going to pause you.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going with the story, but what I was doing, my physiology, my body language, I was mirroring her, which means I was doing the exact same thing. It's the same side. Her left leg is crossed over, my right leg is crossed over. She has her hand down, I would put it up or this. It's not exactly the same time, because if you mirror somebody exactly the same time, it's the little brother, little sister syndrome. You know, stop doing that. Why are you doing that? I'm telling you, you talk at the same time, they do the same thing, and it would really annoy somebody. So if I did the same thing exactly the same time, it would probably annoy her. If I had a delay, if I just mirrored the bottom legs, if our bottom half is in rapport or we're matching each other, it opens up a person and makes them feel really good. That is called mirroring, where you do the exact same thing. You don't have to do the exact same thing at the exact same time, but you'll notice when people are synced up, like a Bluetooth, like a phone to a music player, people get synced up. When they're synced up, what happens is they're more free, the more open the information comes. You get access to all of them because there's nothing, they're in their natural state is what rapport does. Okay, so go ahead and continue.
Okay, so when I think about Paris, it is chocolate croissants. I don't know, I just feel like every place sells chocolate croissants, like water. The Eiffel Tower, I really want to see that. I want to drink a glass of champagne looking at the Eiffel Tower. That's my ultimate, that's just it. Oh, and then get on a bike, and even if we don't eat bread, have that baguette, and I just want to get a photo of doing that, riding through.
We will. Perfect. Perfect. So what's going on inside of you?
I feel like I'm talking more to people sitting in the chairs, not talking to you quite as much.
Because I changed my physiology?
Yeah.
Okay. And part of it is because the way we're faced. If we're facing each other, it would be a little bit different experience. But this is called matching. So she has her left leg and I have my left leg. I can't fully cross. I mean, I could, but it just doesn't feel as comfortable and natural for me. So I just have that crossed. She could cross her, and I'm just giving just a simple tidbits, but you can pick one thing. You don't have to, I'm fully mirroring, I'm fully matching. I could be my hands could be down here and her hands can be over there, but we're still in rapport down here. Matching is a little bit more easier. It's a little bit more socially acceptable on an unconscious level, by the way. So if I did exactly the same thing, exactly the same time, it will probably get annoyed. I don't care if it's the best person in the world you love, try doing exactly the same thing, exactly the same time, and you probably won't like it. It's just how it works as a human being. So go ahead and keep continuing. So you said you want to get a picture of you riding a bike with a baguette hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. That's just a vision that I have of it. And then, well, there's museums, and it just seems very romantic and the perfect place to go for an anniversary. I have to do some more research. I did some research about 10 years ago on Paris, and I literally had everything mapped out, the district that we're gonna stay in, and...
Wow, I don't know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, and I got French books from the library.
Right, so I'm gonna pause for a quick second.
Really fast.
Very good. So you're gonna learn French in a few months? Okay, great.
Yep.
I fully support that. So what the third one is doing is called crossover mirroring. So she had her legs crossed, I kind of crossed my arms, and she was started with her left foot, so I started moving my left foot. So I was matching with one leg, but I was crossing over here, and she opened up a little bit differently, a little bit more. So this is my favorite person in the world, best person I've ever met on the planet, and if I were to do what I'm gonna do next, which I'm only doing it, I don't do this in our normal life, I only do it during trainings, you'll feel how it feels like when I do that. You'll see, so go ahead and keep going.
Okay, so you probably don't know exactly what you're getting into by talking about Paris with me, because I have a lot of it planned out already, and it's gonna be fun.
Okay, that's enough. We don't need to do much more, but what she said was, and this is very common, this is what's very common in my training that I teach with NLP is she said, the words, if you listen, she said, I can't. And what she meant to say, or what she, a little bit before that, and tell me if this is correct, I can't really give her more information. Would you agree that I love you?
Yeah.
And would you agree that you're my favorite person?
Yes.
So with that being said, but you couldn't, with those things, they're still true, they were true before, during, and after, but I went like this, and what happened within you?
I feel like I have so much to talk about with Paris. There are like a lot of ideas and memories of things that I want to do, but when like it just shut off. Like I literally couldn't. Like I was trying to remember something to say because that's what I'm supposed to be talking about, but I just couldn't.
Very key, I shut off. If you want to shut somebody off or shut them down, break rapport, it's called mismatcher. So mismatcher, I was 1 foot down, I was leaning back, she was straight up. So if I were to go from torso up, from the tailbone up to the top of the head, if I were to match just that, even if I were to do other things, it's still, I mean, it kind of look goofy, but it's still in rapport. Unless I was like totally doing something really goofy out of the norm. But if I'm in alignment, if she's centered and I'm centered, it's gonna be in rapport. But what the biggest thing is, when I went forward and I did this, there was no eye contact, I did this, she shut down, she shut off. She felt, and you felt watching, like, even if I told you I do care, you know that, you understand it logically, intellectually, you have that belief system, you can feel it and tell it, but it doesn't matter. When I was in that physiology, what it was communicating unconsciously, he doesn't care, it doesn't matter, and she can't even access that information because unconsciously, why? Why should I do that? Why? Nobody cares here, so I'm gonna keep it to myself. So it doesn't matter if it's your favorite person of all time, do something completely different that they're at, they're gonna shut down and they're not gonna give information, they're not gonna flow, they're not gonna feel connected and you're not gonna feel connected. It's hard for me, it's not really hard because I'm doing it for teaching purposes, but it's hard for me to stay in that state. I can't not stay in rapport with her because it feels so much better. And that's true for her, for anybody else. So if you are talking and flowing with somebody, and if I'm doing exactly the same thing, she might say, what's going on inside? It's a little different words, you know? Yeah, so it's really annoying. So this can be really annoying, but if I'm like crossing here, or if I'm crossing like this is pretty, it's pretty good.
You're doing your own hand thing.
Right.
Like it's not exactly.
Right, so she has got crossed hands. It's not exactly, got these 3 fingers and this. It's not exactly that. It's just crossing hands, and it could be like hands touching in this. People like people when they're like each other. So we like each other when we're like each other. But when we're not, it's not responsiveness. Favorite person in the world shuts down, feels shut down. That's what's communicating. And it has nothing to do if she likes me or not, belief systems, anything like that. All right? Thank you very much. Great job. Give it a little hand. Okay. Adults expect to master things their first time. As soon as they become aware of the information, I should master this. I should know this by now. That's ridiculous. You can't, how can anyone master anything without even, you didn't know that you didn't know it. Now you're aware of it, you have to practice it. That's actually the next step of it. So physiology is 55% of our communication. So your body language makes a difference. By the way, if you're in an unresourceful emotional state, if you're in sadness, anger, depression, frustration, I mean, we'll go back to in a little bit about Eeyore and Tigger. Which one of these two is more depressed, and which one of these is anyone ever associated ever in the history of anything as Tigger and depression? Nope. How about Eeyore and like this, what is it called? The center of attention, or like really fun, the spark of the party, or no. It doesn't work like that. So, but what is Tigger's physiology? Tigger is open, his chest is open, he's bouncing around, he's got really bright colors, like really good energy, where Eeyore is hunched over, he's looking down, not a lot of eye contact, slow, dark, that makes sense. And that's just, if you want to change your emotional state, change your physiology, change your body. A body at rest wants to stay at rest, and the body at motion wants to stay at motion. People that are like depressed or lonely, this or that, name somebody that's really depressed, that's really physically active, that's in rapport with everybody, that's eating really good quality food, that's successful in life, feeling their fulfillment. Doesn't happen. So there's patterns and strategies to it. Tonality is 38%, and then words is 7%. So I could say, how do I prove that to you? So tonality, let's switch to this next page, and I'll give you an example. Number 2 is tonality. When you have your tone go up at the end of the sentence, inflection, tonality, when it goes up, it's a question. So I'll say this one word in different ways. If we go straight ahead, that's why you have a question mark here, that's why we have a period here. When you say it straight ahead, which I shared before, it's a statement, and when you dip it down, it goes to a command. There's a time and place for all 3 of those. So if I were to say, I'm gonna do some goofy, funny things right now, I'm gonna say it to everyone in the audience, these 3 words. If somebody was texting these 3 words, right, you might be like, oh, that's really cool, that's nice. You don't know if they're facetious, if they're meaning or not, authentic, inauthentic, whatever. Usually when people see these things, unless you don't want the person to say that, because like, oh, I don't know, that might be not a good situation, because then I have to, there's a lot more that goes with that. So, but if someone really genuinely says that, it's really good feelings. Or if you see it in the sky, I love you, like, Janine, I love you, Tom, I love you. Usually it's like, oh, that's nice. Somebody's telling them they love this person. So 7%, it's only 7% of the context actually. So here's what I'm saying. Go back into like a leveler position. If I say everyone in the audience, I'll go up first. I love you. I love you. It's like when a dog goes, huh? Like, that's when dogs have questions going on inside. That's what they do. Huh? That makes sense. And that's what, and sometimes they actually make that noise. Like it goes up actually if you watch animals very closely. So, but if I say, I love you, or I love you, if it goes up, nobody really believes me. It's like, well, and usually there's a physiology that goes like, I love you. Usually you break off center and usually like you shrug or you do this, right? Or statement, I love you. Everyone kind of believes it. Oh, that's nice. That feels good, you know? I like love. Love's what it's all about. Down here, I love you. Same words. I love you, I love you, I love you. Huh. And there's laughs with that one because it's a command. Now this is unconscious, of course. But when somebody says, I love you, I don't know, I don't want anyone commanding that they love me. It's like that. The delivery system wouldn't necessarily work for me. Or the only time this is really good for me, it's at a time like a figure, somebody you'll look up to, a coach, someone who's motivated, like, come on, we need to suck it up, let's do this now. Awesome, but not like, I love you. It's like kind of like choking love into a person. It's like, I love you, you're gonna accept it, you know? That's how it can be communicated. So that was just words, and there was some laughter with the command. I'm gonna say the same words, do different inflections. I'm gonna change my physiology a little bit. So, I love you? And it's goofy, yeah. So somebody went, in the audience, and somebody laughed. I love you? It just sounds, and I'm not trying to be goofy, but I love you? But how about this? I love you? This makes more sense, right? Like, you would be like, you're saying the words, and the physiology is matching. I don't know if you do. I don't know if you really do love me. If I were to say, I love you, right? Or, I love you. That could be considered violent, aggressive, even though there's not violence happening, but somebody looking forward pointing, I love you. Like their tone drops, they're doing this, I love you, shut up, don't do anything. So it could be conceived at that, and the mind could put other words and do that. So how about the statement, I love you. So if you go forward and say like, I love you, and there's a difference between this and this, even this makes a difference, right? This is a huge difference, pointing this or that. So you see what I'm saying here, which is you can say one word, and depending how you say it, and depending how your body language is, like, I love you. Like, who am I talking to, right? I'm looking up, my command's going down, I'm saying it to the wall, or you people, I don't know. Who knows what I'm talking about? Or, I love you guys so much. Like, it's a difference even if you do more of a statement. You'll believe it more, even if my back is turned to you, my tonality will be changed. So really start to become aware of what you're saying, how you're delivering it. Now, I don't expect you to master it today. What I want you to do is, in your mind, open up a new file for this information, and you can start to bring more information in. The third one we're going to be talking about is predicates. These are a little bit more technical. Physiology is the easiest. Tonality, each one goes a little bit more specialty, so like bigger picture to more detail. Predicates. The words that we use in our sentences, people are generally visual, auditory or kinesthetic learners. They like to see things first before they learn, or they like to hear things first, or they like to have an experience of it, or some sort of combination. People are also either big picture people. You're giving me details, don't tell me anything. Give me the big picture first before I know what we're doing, and then I can go forward. Other people like, I really don't care about the big picture, tell me what to do. I'm a specialist, I'm gonna get into here. Out of all these things, I'm gonna focus on this. So it's important to know what kind of learner you are and how you accept information and how you give information. Because check this out. How you like to receive love and information is how you normally give it. But it might not work for the other person. Think about, there's 3 different tracks. This could be a train track, a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, person A, person B. Person A is more visual, generally more women are. Person B is more kinesthetic, generally more men are. But there can be all kinds of combination. But this person A, person B. Visual, I love you, here's some flowers. This person's, I don't feel loved. What do you mean? I've shown you my love. Yeah, but I don't feel loved. What do you mean? And if you keep doing this or do this, you're not in the same train track. It's like you might as well be speaking Mandarin and Swahili. Like, good luck with that, you know? When you have somebody that speaks 2 different languages linguistically that you don't know, you have to go to physiology, you have to go to tonality, right? I mean, think about that. If you don't know a different language, you're in a different country, you might not know the words, the content, but the physiology and the tonality, like, oh, the tone's going down, we should get out of here, right? Or that's going up, they have no idea what we're talking about, right? So if you can listen to a person, which you can very easily, and listen to their sentences, and find out, do they say things like, yeah, I see myself doing that in 5 years, so that looks right to me. Yeah, I got a picture of that. I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. How can anybody see what anyone's saying? Are words physical in the physical world? Nope. So nobody can actually physically see what somebody's saying. But when somebody says, I see what you're saying, what they're really saying is, inside my mind, I have a picture of what you're saying, which means I understand or I have an idea. Our minds, this is mind 101. Your mind, my mind, our minds need a picture of something in order to understand it. If you do not have a picture of something, 3 things happen. This is mind 101. There's confusion. I can't see it. I can't get a picture of it. I can't quite grasp it. I don't really hear what you're saying. There's either confusion, there's rejection, or nope, I don't have a file for it, does not compute, boom. It doesn't matter how good it is for me or bad, boom, it's gone. It does not compute. Or fear of the unknown. So I don't have a picture of it, so I'm afraid of it. Even because what I do know, even if it's causing hurt to me or it's limitation, I know that that's pain or hurt or lower thing or whatever. But who knows that what you don't know and what's going to be coming to your conscious awareness could be the thing that you can let that go and actually be able to elevate as a human being. So if the mind doesn't have a picture of something, that's why most people don't understand the mind. Because the mind needs a picture of something in order to understand it, including itself. Everybody in this room and everybody watching has a picture of what their body looks like, right? But if you really think about that, if you think about what does your body look like, it's not the actual real body, because you only can see 7%, 5% of your body right now. Like maybe your hands in front of you. I can only see my nose and my peripheral awareness, maybe a little eyebrows, hands. I can't see my feet right now. Here I could, here I can. But even if I look at this, I can't really see my face, right? Everyone has a picture of what their face looks like. It's because you have a picture in your mind. It's not the picture in your mind of what your face looks like isn't your real face. Does that make sense? It's not the real thing. I'll even go one step deeper. Any memory that you have inside, it's not real. It's not the real event. Doesn't mean the event in the past didn't happen, but the picture in your mind, think about your car for a second, or a bike, it's not here right now, is it? If everyone thought about their cars and it was all here, we'd be crushed and life would be, think about a mountain, boom, I'm dead. Am I in the bottom of the mountain? Am I in the mountain? Am I in the top of the mountain? Boom, I'm cold, whatever that is. So the pictures or internal representations we have of reality isn't actually reality. It's we reconstruct it, which is a little bit deeper. But the visual words we use, if somebody says visual predicates, I see myself. You notice in their language patterns that they're saying more of these kind of words, use them back. Use the exact same words or use something similar, you're going to be in rapport with them. They're going to be like, wow, this person gets me. Not consciously, of course, but unconsciously. Maybe when you talk about it, reflect, well, how do you think about this person? I really like them. Well, you really like them because they're speaking your language and they're connecting with you. Auditorily, that sounds good. Yeah, I can hear what you're saying. It's music to my ears. Well, that's music to my ears. What does that mean? What kind of music? Is it country music? Is it death metal music? Is it ballet or fairies making noise in the trees? Or what kind of music is it? So what people say, the representations, the words we use, is only a small amount of information that's actually really happening inside. So if you have more auditory person, think of like, I'm pretty sure almost everyone in the room's seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I don't remember his name, the teacher, but like Bueller. He's a teacher, and it's stereotypical teachers of the 80s and 90s where they were like monotone, not all teachers, but the ones that were like this, auditory, and they teach auditory, and let that be a message from your unconscious mind. And I wonder what that might mean. Not the obvious metaphor, of course. So the auditory is like Bueller, or somebody that says just words all the time, that could shut people down. Yeah, I'm not listening to you at all. And it's not I don't like you. I'm sure you're smart, you have your PhD or this or that, but I'm just not listening to you because I don't have a pic. You're not speaking my language. So if you can start speaking visual words, auditory, kinesthetic words, you see what I mean, see what you feel what you heard, and hear what you saw. So you can say different words, you light up different parts of the brain, and you actually can, if you're talking to a group of people, you can actually get connected to all of them. Kinesthetic, a bad feeling, comfortable. I don't have a handle on it. I don't have a grasp on it. You know, I can't really wrap my head around it. That's also a kinesthetic. So people are mostly visual, and then it goes kinesthetic and then auditory. But if you show people pictures and then you say words and you give them an experience or feeling, that's it. It's in their DNA. It's in the nervous system. They can actually really make a big difference for that. So that's the same for you as it is for everybody. So try to really calibrate, really listen to the people that are close to you in your life that are important, or bosses or job interviews, because you start using their words, they're going to like you a lot more, and they're not going to even know why. Now we're going to get into it a little bit more. These guys, when I was little, I watched this thing called Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh had Winnie, which was, kind of liked him. I was in rapport with him because he ate a lot of honey, and I liked honey. But I actually was most like Tigger. Tigger had a lot of energy. I was a little Tigger when I was a little kid because my brother was more like an Eeyore a little bit. I hope he doesn't watch this, but actually I don't care. Because he knows that we talked about it last time 3 weeks ago on vacation, and it's funny. So my brother was sitting quiet, slow, and he was a slow starter. He wasn't an early riser. So when it was time to eat breakfast, he didn't want anybody to say anything or do anything. And he used to slurp, you know. He was sitting at the table, and there was this Cocoa Puffs, I think that's what he ate. And he used to slurp it, and I was just like a Tigger. I was like, let's play. And I was like, hey, let's play. And I was flicking his box, and I was doing things like, shut up, stop it, just be quiet, you know. So we were kind of opposites, so this kind of reminds me of my brother. But energy, if you were to match somebody's energy, that's really in rapport. If somebody is slow, and they talk slow, or some people, and it could be conditioning, southern draw. Some people have a southern draw, and life is a little different. You know, generally speaking, stereotypically in the country, life is slower, talk is slower. That's just how it is. In the city, things are fast. You know, I don't think there's a lot of, it's a generalization, but I feel like there's a lot of truth in it. In New York City, there's not a lot of people that talk really slow. It's molecules, it's more energy, getting closer together, it's just things moving faster. So if you were to match somebody, this becomes it's what's called behavioral flexibility. If you can slow it down, if you can match somebody's speed, their pace, and what they do, you're gonna get in rapport with them. Again, when I was a kid and I watched, there's a cartoon called The Micro Machine Man. The Micro Machine Man was, I think it was in the 80s, I believe. There was these Hot Wheels, but then there's these micro machines. It was something new and totally different. They weren't super functional, but they were really fun, especially being a little kid having a really big imagination. But the Micro Machine Man was, I forgot his name, but he was the Guinness Book, I still might be, the Guinness Book World Record holder of speaking the most words legibly, or you could audibly, in a minute. And he was like, blah, 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 and you can do this and the tricks and blah, blah, blah. Like, and it was probably 3 times faster what I'm saying. But if people speak faster and you speak faster, or if they move a lot more and you move that, you're gonna be in rapport with them, and you can match them and you can slowly start to slow it down. or you can match somebody slow and you can actually build them up. If you're a coach or a therapist or counselor, you want to connect with people, like, how's it going today? Like, you don't be like, how's it going today, man? Oh, I feel really depressed. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear about that. Those people aren't in rapport. So it's like, so you can have higher energy, like, what's going on? How's it going? So you can just slow it down, kind of go more to their level, and then you can get them, well, let's go for a walk. Let's move this energy, let's break it. But you have to get in rapport and match them first to lead somebody out of an under-sourceful state. Or you have to connect with where they're at to take them to a higher state. And a little bit of more advanced rapport, you have to go into that state inside. If I want to talk about confidence, and I want to project confidence, let's say everybody who's coming here for confidence. You want to learn how to be confident anywhere, anytime, with anyone. Well, I'd have to get into that state of confidence, and I'd have to be, my physiology would have to match my words. I have to know what I'm talking about. When I look you in the eye, I have to have you believe that I'm very confident of what I'm saying. But if I'm saying confidence, and like, well, confidence is like, if I go into more of a Eeyore, what was I gonna say? No, I don't know. So if I started doing that and not trusting myself and getting out of rapport with my unconscious mind, forget about it. So I only showed that just to show what it would look like. But the difference with energy is you can match somebody's energy and you can lead them out of it, or you can just match their energy and just do that. Some days it can be like today is pretty cloudy, kind of sunny day. It's kind of speckles of sun. But if it's like a rainy day, right? Sometimes you just want to go a little bit slower and maybe want to cozy up, maybe get some layers by a fireplace, maybe some tea, maybe read a book. It's nice to just take it easy. And there's different parts of us that we can do that. Maybe if it's a nice day out, it's beautiful, I want to be on the lake, I want to go and have some fun, so it's maybe higher energy. Let's go to a concert, we're going to go to a Katy Perry concert and let's just get hyped up, listen to Katy Perry albums for a month before and memorize all the songs. And that's a true story, by the way. So energy is number 4, and then the 5th one is keywords. Keywords. We're going to take a little bit trip down memory lane in Jeremiahsville. If you were to hang out with me when I was, I think in 3rd grade, 4th grade, something like that, and you were to say words like this, cowabunga, dude. If you were to say like, cowabunga, dude, let's go get some pizza, oh my God, I love you so much. I don't care who you are. Even if you're a stranger, I'd be like, man, this person's pretty cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, cowabunga was, I think that's a word that's made up. I don't know if it was before that time. That's just you can quote me on it or you don't quote me, I don't know. But I just think that I've never heard of that word before, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I liked pizza when I was a kid. I like that word, so if you would have said it to me, like, we're in rapport. And just that one key word, because that would light my neurology up. Because in NLP terms, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles represent, like, I liked martial arts, I liked, they're really flexible, they're really fun, they had a high energy. So you said cowabunga, dude, I liked you, I was in. That's something so simple. And a little bit later, this was probably around 2003, when I went to this show, saw it 4 times before it was in the independent theaters. And if you were to talk in words like this, Napoleon Dynamite, and you say, lucky, or say things like that, or vote for Pedro. I had a vote for Pedro shirt. Actually, it was Napoleon Dynamite. I think it was in 2003, before anybody knew about it. Only one person in the whole downtown Minneapolis recognized it, and I thought I was pretty cool back then. I guess I was hipster before hipsters were hipsters. So if you, at that time, say Napoleon Dynamite quotes like, man, we are in instant rapport. And then, this is a little bit different, 1999, The Matrix, this is don't think you are, know you are. This is a very big movie in my life. This is kind of like a awakening in a way. Before The Matrix and after The Matrix. Watching The Matrix, it will awaken my mind, my eyes to like, wow, they're really speaking a lot of metaphors here. They're doing a lot of storytelling, and it really, and still to this day, no other movie resonated with me more ever than The Matrix. I also have a big humor side, and this is one of my favorite actors, very controversial actor. One of the most brilliant is Englishman. Maybe we'll go see him when we're gonna be in England, I hope so. Let's do that. You get to go to France, you get to go to London. What'd you say, was it champagne? Sip champagne right by the Eiffel Tower? Not wine, champagne. It's gotta be, step up from red wine, so champagne. No problem. We'll ride your bike there and take a picture. And we'll get to go and meet my buddy, Sacha Baron Cohen, from Borat. When Borat came out, great success. Like, man, if you were to say quotes for me, I would be your best friend all day, because I just thought he's so brilliant, where he can go into so many different characters, like in Madagascar when he was King Julian. It's one of my favorite characters of all time, a big goofball. And then one of the most recent ones too is, this is something we quoted, my wife and I, which is so funny and so brilliant. For those of you who've seen Inside Out, sadness. Would anybody mind if I just lie here? It's really cute, and not a spoiler alert, but if you watch that, if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. But at the end of the day, it's not a spoiler alert, but sadness turns out to be the hero. And it's kind of a really good reframe, and it's not really giving anything away, but it's so adorable. It makes you look at sadness in a different way, inside and out, in the movie and in real life. So if there's keywords that people say, this is kind of a nice animation of it, but if there's keywords that people say, like right now, if you were to talk about like consciousness or higher consciousness or helping humanity, and you're coming from the heart, I'm gonna really listen to you, or making a difference, being a change maker, doing something, taking your destiny in your own hands and running with it. If you say things like that, that's gonna light up my neurology, because I'm just a person who really likes to connect with people, but not just to connect with people for that moment and then not have anything. I want them to go forward and make more connections, and whatever they do in life, do that to the best of their ability of what they came here to do and complete their personal mission on earth, because that's gonna make a better world for me, for you, for everyone, and that's my ultimate goal. So if somebody has a specific keywords that they use, it could be like bam or shazam or wow, anything like that. If you repeat it back with the same energy and the same tonality, almost instant rapport. So it's really important to listen if there's keywords that you say, if somebody else can say it, or if you catch it with somebody else, try it. Just give it a try. Try any one of these 5 out. So in summary, to kind of wrap it up before we get into the Q&A, rapport is both the key that unlocks every relationship, and it's the glue that holds them together. It's the key that unlocks, it opens up a person's mind, opens up their heart, and takes down their defenses, but it's the glue that keeps it synergistic together. Without rapport, I wouldn't continue to be married with my wife if I didn't do eye contact, if I didn't listen to her, if I didn't give her things that I wanted, or that she wanted, and vice versa. If she didn't listen to me, it wouldn't be any glue. And rapport happens naturally. This isn't something that's alien. Okay, I'm here, some sort of alien, come to Earth. I'm gonna teach you this thing you don't do. You do it all the time. You've been doing your whole life. There's times in your life when it feels good to be around people, when it doesn't. And if you wanna feel better around more people, practice rapport. And the key, biggest takeaway is the 5 different ones are your physiology, so what you do, right? The tonality of how you say it. The predicates, so do you guys all see what I mean? Does this resonate with you, and can you get it, does it feel right to you? So the predicates that we use, the energy of it, does this make sense? Does it make sense? Boom, it's going into your unconscious minds right now, and you're feeling really great, and you're gonna go out in the world and actually be able to apply it in your relationships to make your relationships and the relationships around you positive and better. So the energy, and also the 5th one is the keywords. Like wowzer, I don't know, I'm just making up keywords. I don't know if keywords that I say, I'm sure there are some, but if there's anything like excellent, brilliant, or like that's right, or anything that's really key that you can use, you'll get into a rapport with people. So these are the 5 different ways, but if you really want to learn more about it, we have training, we have these online videos, we have in-class trainings, we have certifications where you actually can learn how to do this in life, and in whether it's personal or professional, but all of our training, it's very transformational, which means you have to experience these things in the first place, and you get to try it on, and once you do, your mind upgrades, because when you get more choices that are better, that's the mind 101. The mind always wants better, and the person always wants better, so if you can do better choices, you can let go of the things that no longer work for you. There's no depth of how much rapport you can get into with people and how much better you can get into it. So my name is Jeremiah Rangel. I want to thank you for listening for this rapport, and if there's any other questions right now, we'll go ahead and do that. But go ahead and you can check out introawareness.com, or you can check out any one of our events that we have, and we're more than happy to take you into as deep a rapport or learn more about your unconscious mind, your higher consciousness, your body, or what you're here to do in life to the depths that you want to go and help you complete that purpose. So thank you guys very much.